Hi, it's Sandy Parker and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Today we're going to make a card with a watercolor panel on the front. I hope you'll stay tuned. So I got these watercolors. I think these are the White Knights, and I didn't like the packaging they came in, so I bought this Meaden palette, I guess that's what you call it, metal palette on Amazon, and I put mine back. I put them in here and then I squeezed them shut and they work good. Then the other thing I did is I swatched all of them, and then I didn't want to turn on my laminator for something so small, so I just put packing tape over the front and back, and then I put pieces of Velcro on it so I could just slap it on here, and then when I don't, when I'm not using it, and then when I am using it, I can just have it sitting up so I can look at it so I know which colors are which, and I have them set up in the order. This would only take 6, and I wanted to tell you about this. These are those swatches that you can pay for the stamps on. I went to their website and they have this as a free printable. So all I did was I printed it from the screen. It's so much easier than stamping it out, and I didn't have to pay for stamps. It was completely free. Anyway, that's where I got these grids to do my swatching on. And I thought that was a really great thing that they did, giving that away. Anyway, back to our project. So I'm going to put them off to the side. You might not be able to see them. You might be able to see them. And then this picture I also printed from an image online, and I'll link that below. These watercolor brushes I'm using, the two in the middle that are wood, are from Grace Art, and they were on Amazon, and they're a large set and they're really, really nice. They've got a really nice point, and you get a bunch of them for like $8, I think. I don't know. And then this one is just a junky one that I like. And then these are Royal and Langnickel, and I don't know the number on it. I have 2 little pots of water here, one for clean water and one for dirty water, and the one that's dirty water is closest to me. I don't know if you can see it or not. And I thought what we would do is start by wetting this, and only one petal. I'm working on watercolor paper. I know a lot of you who know how to watercolor understand that I should have my hand more like this, but my arm doesn't do that unless I hold it that far up in the air. My wrist doesn't bend in that direction. So I'm showing you how a watercolor is done when you can't put your hand in the position that an artist should put it. And I really try hard to do things that other people do that have wrist motion so that all of you can figure it out with me. I'm not really sure what these, looks like lily pads that are around it. I'm not really sure what colors those are supposed to be, but they're lily pads. At least that's what I think they are. You can tell me in the comments if you think it's something else, but it looks like a lily pad to me. Okay, I'm going to make an executive decision on these lily pads. I'm going to say that they are a light green. Could be a lie, but that's the color I'm going to say they are. I stepped out for a second, so I had time to let everything dry, and now I'm just going to do some of the stamen of these. And I found out when I was off camera, I went on my downloads because I started thinking about it, and I thought, this might have been a digital stamp that I bought. and it was, I think I bought it from a company called Sparkle and Sprinkle. And these are nasturtiums. If I didn't just say that, that's what they are. They're not, in fact, hibiscus, which is what I thought they were. Darn it. So, yeah. Anyway, I don't know what these are. They still look like lily pads, but they did have one of the images that you get when you get this set is you get a colored image as well. And so the thing I like about digital stamps is if you don't like to color, they have ones in the set that are pre-colored, and they're a lot cheaper than buying actual stamps. It's, you know, it's much more inexpensive, and then you just download it onto your computer. It's very simple, and like I said, a lot cheaper. So if you're wondering about digital stamps, I highly recommend them if you like, you know, using your computer, and if you feel comfortable doing things like downloading things like this. Anyway, that's my story. And the other thing, oddly enough, when I saw the colored version of this, the I call them lily pads. I'm sticking with that. The lily pads are actually the same color green I made. What are the odds? You know what I'm saying? What are the odds? So anyway, I'm just going to wet those, what I call lily pads. Don't know what they actually are. Anyway, maybe nasturtiums grow near ponds. I don't know. Just saying. But weirdly enough, this green that I just mixed is the right color. What are the chances? I don't know if you could tell that, but I was trying to make a little darker edge here so that it looks like a shadow from the flower above it. To make this color that I'm going to be using on the other nasturtiums, I used both of my yellows. I used the Cad Lemon and Cad Yellow Medium, and I add a little bit of this golden, which I think is more like an orange. Anyway, that's what's called on this, is golden. I don't know why. Anyway, so I'm going to use that on these other nasturtiums that are kind of in the background. So I finished my watercoloring. This is what it looks like. You missed me doing the darker shades to make highlights in everything. I'm sorry about that. My camera cut out as usual, and I didn't know it did it, so there you have it. I cut 10-inch by 7-inch tall card base. This is an old Stampin' Up! Color, and I decided that I needed to go around the outside. I cut off the black border that was on the side, so I decided I would just use a Sharpie and make it, make the black line come back, but I want it to be darker than it was. And I also want it to be all around the card, not just on the sides. So that's what we're doing first. When you're going to do this, you always have to go around the sides of watercolor paper, like on the top, on the edges, because it's white, and yeah, obviously it's white, but it's thick, and you don't want to end up having a white edge. Then I stamped a sentiment from Penny Black's Eloquence set of stamps. It says, "With deepest sympathy," and I made this 5 inches long. I might cut it down, and I decided I would do the same black border on it, although not as thick as that black border. I could, but the chances of me screwing that up would be high. And when you do this, you always want to have your marker closer to the back than the front, because if it slips, it's going to slip onto the back and not the front, and then you won't have a wasted sentiment. Because when you're doing this, let's say you do it right here and it slips, it does that. See, it's on the back. That's a beautiful thing. Okay, then I decided I was going to line this with some red cardstock. I think I had about 1,000 sheets of red cardstock out because I'm organizing my cardstock. And for those of you who remember the video that I did where I got rid of all my scraps, okay, since I've been organizing, and this isn't all of it, these are just my plain, mostly plain paper scraps. I know it's horrible, isn't it? If you've never done this before, let me show you the ways that you can get more out of your card, your base. So this is a 5x7 card base already. Let's see how big this piece is. It is a little under, it's about 3 3/4 by 6. So we want to make it 4 by 6 1/4. At least that's my plan. Okay, so here's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to put this little border of red around it. Can you see it's a very, very thin border? I think I'll just use some of my tape runner. There it is. I also want to use some wet glue with it because I don't trust tape runner. I think it sometimes lets loose, and when you have watercolor paper, it's heavier and you just don't know if it's going to stay or not, and I don't want to have to worry about that. I'm making my wet glue on the edges because I want to make sure if I need to move this that I'll be able to. Because I'm doing such a small border, we need to make sure that if I lay it down wrong, I can pick it back up. And this will hopefully ensure that I can. I'm going to line it from the top. As I said, my borders are really, really small. Now it's got a little red border around it. I like that. So next step, what we're going to do, this is our card base. It's going to be 5x7, and then I have this layer that's 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and I have this paper punch that cuts these notches out. Can you see those little notches? And then we're going to wrap some embroidery floss around them. You can't do this notch on the outer layer of the card because it basically glues the card shut, because you have to run it through both pieces. So you have to make it on your layered piece. And let me show you how to do it. You're going to start by, this is the front of our card. You're going to take a little piece of washi tape and we're going to put it to the back like that. That's just going to help us to keep it in place. So I'm starting here, and then you wrap it like that. Actually, I started in the wrong spot. You're going to start it there, and then you're going to wrap it, and then you're going to wrap it, holding it tight. Every time you make a loop, you should be holding it tight. Like that. And then I go around to the back. It should be tight, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get another piece of tape and I'm going to tape this down. And then we're going to cut off the excess like that. And then that's what our front is going to look like. Now I'm going to put this in the center of that. I think I'm going to put that up on foam. I have this very, very thin foam tape. I mean, it's really super thin. And it works great for pieces like this, because I'm going to want to put a layer of foam tape behind this and behind the next layer. Okay. Now I'm going to take the backing off. I'm going to have Rich cut that out so you don't have to watch that. And then I'm going to lay this, hopefully. I'm going to turn it sideways so I can really see it good. There's that. And then we're going to put foam tape on the back of this. Wasn't enough to torture myself once. I want to torture myself twice with this stupid foam tape. Okay. Then finally we're at the point where we've got a card base and we're ready to put something on it. All right, let's see. How's that look? Might be. And then I'm going to use my tear tape that was left over. So there we have it. It's a bunch of different techniques that were lots of fun to do. I love watercoloring, and I had fun doing the embroidery floss. So I hope that you enjoyed this and that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and please tell your friends about me on social media, because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.